back, and now we come into the light, and we are here, we are alive, and we are raw. It is 2022.
We are back. And 2022 so far, it's been pretty productive. We were on air yesterday at the same time with a very special Bizarro segment, which you've got to see, and I think we're going to show it at the end of this show. And how's your 2022 going, Yankee, down there? And
I've ordered a GPU for the first time, a somewhat expensive one, on Amazon. Since it's been 2022 is the last time I was able to do that, where I could buy one for a somewhat decent price. And it arrived. Nice. It arrived just moments ago.
There you go.
So it's going to get put into the old mining rig, and it's going to chug away. So
yeah, well, there you go. And I'm sort of into this. It just occurred to me I should make a New Year's resolution for myself. And since I produced something on the first day of the year, and I'm producing something right now on the second day, I'm going to try to produce something every day this year. And it doesn't matter if it's a video or a manuscript or something.
No, that's good. To get creative juices, get them flowing again.
I got to make up for the last couple of years because I've been slack. And ever since Uncle COVID came to town, I got laid off. And now I'm getting my gigs back. So it's time to do something. And I think out there in all the universe of the broadcasting universe that we're broadcasting to, if there's anybody out there, try that. Just one thing. Produce one thing, even if it's like bake some cookies or something. But, if you produce... Because they cannot take away your accomplishments. They can take away everything else. But your accomplishments are your legacy. So there you go. Happy 2022. Okay, well, what are we doing today? Oh, we're going to do what happened last year. What the heck? Well, we can't cover everything that happened, but we're going to try to cover the highlights for you. And why don't we start out with the World Overview YouTube video, because it goes through from A to Z. And it's pretty covers a few things that I'll cover quickly on the Canada side, but it's decent,
So load that up.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Well, it's always good. Videos are fun, and we just get to watch, and we can't get in trouble unless we get flagged for copyright violations. That's the worst of it.
We got a rough life doing this gig.
It's life is hell on the streaming. Strom is actually the German word for it.
Let me clean up all these links I have. I have that woman who wanted the chimpanzee from Bizarro News. Let me clean that up.
Yeah, well, clean that one.
Clean up this YouTube video. All right, hold on.
I wonder what her house looks like. Never mind.
Yeah,
that's from the Bizarro thing yesterday.
I think so. Yeah, I think maybe what we'll do is I'll rebroadcast after this show. I'll rebroadcast the best of Bizarro that we did yesterday. Probably like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.
Yeah, who knows? Right now it's 1:08 on the West Coast. That's all I know. Let's rock.
Clean release.
All right, so this is from Global News. So this is.
The YouTube thing, YouTube.
Global News is Canadian, right?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
All right, so are we? I can't remember if we were doing the whole. We're not doing half.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Do the whole darn thing. It's
all right, let's rock and roll then. 6
minutes, but it's full.
All right, let's do it. So from Global News, the year in review, from A to Z. No less. And look back at the biggest moments of the past year. All right. So let's do it.
Clean release.
Right.
Ignition.
Let us begin with space.
Good rocket motor burn.
Barely. A is for arc, the shape, like up and down, which is basically all billionaires Bezos and Branson did with their space launches this year. I wanted to be impressed, but we've kind of been doing that for 60 years.
I saw darkness. I thought I was going to see the world, but we weren't quite high enough.
Sticking with that theme, B is for billionaires. Worldwide, the pandemic has pushed about 100 million people into poverty, while the world's richest, a relative handful of people, are worth trillions more. Which brings us to Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children.
C is for compulsion. We started the year knowing social media could be addictive for some. In 2021, it was confirmed
Facebook knows
it's intentional.
I don't think it'll be reached for a very long time, if ever. But
D is for decorated. Penny Alexiak won 3 more medals at the Tokyo Games and is now the most decorated Canadian Olympian of all time. 7 and counting.
Stuck in the Suez and going nowhere.
E is for Ever Given, the ship that got stuck sideways in the Suez Canal. A story that reminded me of my family's houseboat vacation a few years back. Very relatable.
You know, sometimes.
F is for feud. 2 of golf's biggest players really don't like each other.
I don't think we've ever gotten along.
They tried to iron things out with a match in November. It didn't work.
Enough said.
Wait, did we just become best friends?
No. I don't know about that.
G is for GameStop. 2021 had meme stocks, crypto, and NFTs.
Even if this goes to 0 and I lose everything, I like being a part of it.
H is for Haiti. An assassination, a gang crisis, a hostage-taking crisis. It just doesn't seem to end.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
I is for insurrection, a word some have used to describe what was a surreal day in the U.S.
Hold them this way. Are you going to report this?
J is for juvenile. We did have our own embarrassing election moment when a protester threw rocks at the Prime Minister. K has to be for Kamloops, BC. The remains of 215 children were found in unmarked graves on the grounds of the so-called Kamloops Indian Residential School. But schools aren't supposed to have cemeteries. These were something else.
The war was against our children. It's a crime scene.
We've got to leave town.
L is for Lytton.
Go!
The BC village almost erased from the map this summer by fire. Literally in minutes.
Everything I had was in there.
M is for Nazar Mohammed. Nothing in Afghanistan this year went the way it should have. But one story that stuck with me was early on as the Taliban swept back into power. The political killing of a comedian. One with an incredible laugh. N is for the North, which is where Canada's new Governor General comes from. If you missed Mary Simon's swearing in, try to find it. It's worth the time.
Community transmission has been established in several areas.
O is for Omicron. COVID-19 had to be on this list somewhere. Right now, this spot feels appropriate.
Like everything else, we'll get through it. We got through wave 1, 2, and 3. We'll get through wave 4.
1 on 3, but a lot of that's drilled by Luke Prokop.
P is for Prokop. In July, Predators prospect Luke Prokop came out as gay, the first player under contract with an NHL team to do so.
I'm accepting who I am.
And how did the hockey world react? Well, exactly as you would hope it would.
What he decided to do was so good on so many levels.
It was decided that the group would not alert human resources or...
Q is for question. Specifically, what were they thinking? The Chicago Blackhawks sexual abuse cover-up seems inexplicable.
Brad Aldridge!
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to
R is for reckoning in the case of Derek Chauvin.
Find the defendant guilty.
The former police officer responsible for the death of George Floyd was sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison.
We're adjourned.
S is for Sumas Lake, re-flooded. Another reminder of the power of water, as if we needed it.
It's good to be out here and just playing again. And
T is for Tiger Woods. Doing twice the posted speed limit in February, he almost died. One of the greatest athletes of all time, but not known for great judgment. U is for upset. My beloved Canadians had a few in the playoffs. This was my favorite.
And they'll punch their ticket to Winnipeg.
It's wonderful.
V is for visit. A lot of people saw loved ones for the first time in a long time this year. W is for wow. Squid Game was one of those things you didn't see coming. Now, X is the Roman numeral for 10, so let's go with 2 of them. Global National turned 20 in September. This was a neat moment.
All those years ago.
Y is for Your Home. Canada welcomed back the two Michaels in September.
Can you see me?
And finally, Z is for Zero, and it's for my favorite story of the year. It was a reunion that had a 0% chance of happening. Two women in their 90s who grew up Jewish in Nazi Germany separated, each thinking the other was dead, for 82 years.
I think I have a whole new family.
Their first reunion was over Zoom with their families. Eventually, it was in person, but they now talk all the time. It's always nice to be reminded friendship
Yeah, good.
is pretty powerful.
L'chaim. L'chaim. L'chaim.
Yes, there it is. Year in review. All right, according to Global News, Canuck land.
Yeah, well, that was kind of Canadian-centric, but it covered a number of different things. I thought
I liked it. It was good.
You know,
they had to throw hockey in there. That was like the first time I saw a hockey game, I think.
You've never seen a hockey game?
I knew that there was like a stick involved and a puck or something like that, but
oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, well,
I'm a Yankee. What do you want from me?
Well, they have hockey in America. There's a New York Rangers, the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, you know what? Florida even has a
Boston
hockey team.
Bruins.
Florida has a hockey team now.
Well, now you see,
like
that's
10,
all
15 years
wrong.
ago.
Now, they went and expanded the league.
That's part of it I don't understand.
Now you got like Tampa Bay, one of the heartlands of hockey. A lot of the kids in Tampa Bay grow up to be NHL hockey stars. No. Now here we've had Patty Price, man. We've had Ray Ferraro from here. When Steve Yaz. Never mind. You don't know anything I'm talking about. Come on.
I only know Wayne Gretzky.
My Canucks, Vancouver Canucks are on him. They have not been defeated in 8 or 9 games after a new coach, so change is good as the rest. Now, moving on, we're going to get really Canadian-centric, and then I'm going to turn things over to the Canuck, and he can tell you what the heck happened in America. So if you want to call up the CBC News, and I'll talk, right, because there's no video this time.
What am I pulling up?
The CBC thing, it's got some pictures and stuff like that. We're not going to cover everything that's in there, but we're going to cover a few of them.
All right, okay, so the CBC.ca, Canada, 2021 photos, scroll up.
Yeah. Show the people the pretty pictures, and then I'll do my best to
Paraphrase?
Oh. Yeah. Paraphrase.
Something like that?
Yeah. I knew that, by the way.
You were intentionally being ignorant?
Hey, I was an English major.
I think sometimes people forget, like dry wit sometimes, you know what I mean?
Dry wit. Yeah, I met him. All right, well, there's a bunch of 12 notables. There's our hockey girls. And I think number 2, it has to do with blockades of the Fairy Creek watershed to protect BC's old-growth forests has become one of the largest acts of civil disobedience in Canadian history. Protesters arrived there in August 2020 to prevent Teal Jones Group from working. The Surrey, BC-based company obtained an injunction against the protesters on April 1st, which the RCMP have enforced since mid-May. Over 1,100 people have been arrested. RCMP and protesters stand face-to-face in silence. Okay, and so there's been that injunction has been overturned due to the malfeasance of part of the RCMP enforcing it, and the whole thing is very, very messy. Okay.
So wait a minute, this is that's related specifically to what?
Well, they're protesting. They're trying to protect the forest. Right. Some of the last old growth forest on Vancouver Island is in danger of being logged off by this logging company who does hold a license to log it. Therefore, they were able to get an injunction, and it turns out that here in Canada, even if the Crown or the government is the Crown chooses not to charge people, a private company can now bring criminal charges against people, and I'm going to cover that more later because that just seems very, very strange, right? Now, the next thing that I was going to go to is the residential schools, which was touched upon on the global clip. But basically, what happened was that they found children's graves in unmarked areas around Kamloops, BC, and since then they found other residential schools. Residential schools were where Indigenous people were forced from their homes as children and reindoctrinated into Western ways and culture, and were forced to not speak their language under penalty. Now there's supposed to be this reconciliation thing. There was gatherings to commemorate that. The Prime Minister Trudeau decided to go on vacation instead of going to a reserve to honor the day, and then later he said he was sorry. And skateboard Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, he's good at apologizing.
Oh, he's great, man. He's been doing that all his life. Okay, now check it out. We had a heck of a weather here in BC. We had extreme heat during the summer. And then we had these extreme atmospheric floods come in, and it wiped out a huge area in the lower mainland of British Columbia called the Fraser Valley, the Sumas, and they did touch on that in that previous video. Okay, there's a bunch of other ones. We can just scroll down.
Here's the residential school children, honoring them, and then...
Yeah, that's a very sad situation, and it's still... And those schools only closed in 1972, the last of them. And a lot of them were run by the Catholic Church, who have not actually come out and apologized. And, of course, the Canadian government, being Canadian, they're really good at saying they're sorry. It's a national trait we have here. People apologize for doing everything. Yeah, well, we had the town of Lytton, which completely got wiped out. Here in where I live, it was extremely hot. And then on September 24th, BC court dropped the extradition case against Meng Wanzhou.
Oh, the Black Widow, or the otherwise known as the Princess of Yahweh.
Yeah, Madam Butterfly. Anyhow, this was after the United States a deferred prosecution agreement against her, and she kind of apologized for doing a bunch of stuff that had nothing to do with anything. Meng read a statement outside the BC Supreme Court following the ruling, which set in motion her departure from Canada after she spent nearly 3 years under house arrest in a $16 million freaking mansion. Meanwhile, these two guys, Michael Spavrov and Michael Kovrig, were detained in China, and they were held in unheated rooms and subject to all kinds of
the absolute
things.
How that was. Well, first off, public, the major news outlets, they don't even go into the conditions that the Michaels were under.
No.
Or the conditions that she was under. The only thing I could find for her, Meng, was that she was basically in some luxury hotel.
No, she had a mansion. It was owned by her family. She
was at a residential house?
Oh, yeah. She was at her house. She's under house arrest.
House arrest, okay.
But her house has got a swimming pool.
All right.
Okay.
So, you cleared that up for me, though.
Meanwhile, our guys are over in China in an unheated room with lights on all day and night. Okay. Now, we are going to be doing a special this year. I should be able to say this year now, fresh year, on the situation with First Nations people. And CBC noted, due to concerns about fuel contamination, the Inkluvik issue do not order. This is a tribe in northern British Columbia. I just town, city, actually, 8,000 people. Eventually, to point to underground fuel spills, primary contamination after understated water is saved, resident blah, blah, blah.
This is it right here, right? Equivalent water crisis?
Yeah. The whole situation with the waters, and Canada, a developed country, and the people that lived here first, mainly to do with pollution and displacement of their native lands, are in a crisis situation for even just getting water. All right. Speaking of water, here's where we touch on the atmospheric river. 200 millimeters of rain. Like, that's 20 centimeters. That's 16 inches of rain in 48 hours. And it wiped out all kinds of things. The update on that, ladies and gentlemen, is quite good. Congratulations. I predicted the Highway 5, the Coquihalla Highway, would not open until sometime next spring. They predicted it would open towards the end of January. It opened before Christmas, which allowed my daughter to take Highway 3 here because it got open to commercial traffic. And it's been listed as one of the great engineering feats of Canadian history. 200 machines, 300 people working 24/7. And now Coquihalla Highway is open to commercial traffic, and Highway through southern British Columbia is open for human traffic, normal traffic. So that's it. That's the whole ship. That's what happened in Canada. Oh, there was an election that nothing happened in. Everything ended up being the same after the election, as far as skateboard Justin being still in charge in a minority government. And other than that, that's it for Canada. And hockey coming on up, baby. It's
yeah.
That's Canada, man.
On the U.S. side, actually, I need to clean up some of the show notes, but I'm going to go
USA,
over.
Okay.
What's that?
You're going to do the USA. I'm going to.
I'm going to do Elon Musk, who he wasn't even born in the United States. Not that you have to be. I mean, we welcome anybody that wants to come here. But he was from South Africa. But
anybody? Wait a minute. Tell that. Wait a minute. I hope we're not being broadcast in Guatemala, dude.
Don't we welcome anyone in the United States? Come on in.
Send us your meek and your hungry and your poor, and we'll put them to work in our fruit orchards. And that's the old school.
No doubt. But Elon Musk, he was in South Africa. We covered him at the Billionaire Bash. But I want to mention him for 2022 because we kind of have a crush on him because both the Canuck and the Yankee have nominated Elon Musk as the world's, our favorite for the top billionaire. It's our pick for favorite billionaire.
The editorial board of Variant News has unanimously picked Elon Musk as the billionaire of the year 2021. And for my vote, it's because he's innovative. A lot of these billionaires, they don't do anything. Bezos is just a big retailer. He buys things, he resells them. So what's the big deal with that? That's nothing new. A lot of these people are really rich because they inherited it, which is fine. I have no problem with that. Sometimes it happens to good people. But Elon's, plus he's a nutball. He sleeps under his desk. We don't know what he's going to do. He gets on Twitter and says silly things. He lives in a little house.
But he kind of epitomizes the U.S. and that old school capitalism. I mean, he's basically been subsidized by
entrepreneurship, dude. It's all
the
about
U.S. government.
Entrepreneur.
All his work's been subsidized.
That's what's missing now. It's too much corporate, not enough individual entrepreneurship. And individual entrepreneurship should be supported directly by somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think it shouldn't be concentrated.
Please.
It shouldn't be concentrated all with Elon. I mean, Elon's he's in an absolute. He should be grateful for the position he's in. We need more investment capital. We need more entrepreneurs. We need people starting businesses and creating jobs. So the government should be getting involved in that. Mm-hmm. We should be creating technologies that help save the planet. Help. Provide energy for homes, buildings, whatever. It just goes on and on. We need technology that works.
When you give money directly to the people, they use it. Whether they're homeless people so they can get back on their feet, or small companies trying to get going, it comes back around. And so much of the capital goes to large corporations, which just infuse them into their overall scheme. So there you go. Power to the people.
And so I read recently, and I didn't realize this even after we did all the coverage of Musk, but he's sold most of his houses. So he has some house in San Francisco that he's going to keep whenever he can have meetings or whatever. But he's sold a lot of his properties, and he's living in a modular home, a very small one. I think it's only like 1,200 at most. In I forget the name of that small town in Texas. I think it's Southwest Texas, where he moved SpaceX. Because he made that big move from. There's been a massive exodus from California, and Musk.
Well, yeah.
And a lot of other big companies have all left. California's trying to still go after these companies, even after they've left California. Well, still trying to get tax money out of them. It's completely insane.
There's only about 20 reasons why they're leaving, so we'll have to go into that on a future show. What else happened in the States?
Overall, I mean, I don't have it in the show notes. I'm just going to go over it, off the top of my head. Crypto.
Let's go back
through this
people view then.
Sure. All this year, that's what I've been focusing on, I think, the most. I've been mining. But the crypto legislation, we only got a little bit. Basically, they're defining, they have a very broad net they're casting with what is considered to be a broker in the crypto industry, but they just left so much out because, as I've always been saying all last year, and it's been the case for many years, U.S. Congress is very dysfunctional. But they at least did something, so I guess we can pat them on the back for that. But there'll be more of that, so they're going to have to define and do a lot more work. What is a broker? They're going to have to define that more. And I think there's a lot of people, I've been working with crypto for more than 5 years now, and there's a lot of doomsayers, a lot of people saying it's going to get wiped off the map, regulated out of existence. Now, if that were to happen, it would have already happened in the U.S. All paths are now leading to like the big players that are already in it, Ethereum, Solana has big backing with Apple. The U.S. government is not going to go against large corporations like this. Microsoft's in the game with the ION identification system and blockchain nodes and Bitcoin. So it's all going to be about how to tax it and make billions in the short term. So anyone that's involved in crypto, you're going into this tax year, it's going to get more and more complicated with each year as it evolves, and it's still in its infancy.
And I believe that you're going to be doing a weekly special show on just cryptocurrencies and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm looking into that, but I'm not sure. I'm going to try to reach out to YouTube or Red Panda Mining because he might have some good ideas. I've been watching him for a while, and you can book like interviews with him, ask him questions and stuff like that. So I might do that. But yeah, it's going to be crypto mining and then crypto investment and tax laws and regulation.
I see. That'd be good.
Because that's what I was doing so much of last year. So might as well create a dedicated show for it. And
yeah, I think that'd be important because we try to cover it some here, but it's such an in-depth situation. And since you got me kind of involved in watching it, it seems to be every day something has changed or something new has come along or some development. So it's almost like a weekly show, I think, is going to be a benefit. By the way, this is a Canuck and Yankee show, and it's a presentation of Variant News, which is an app available on your smartphone and
Android only right now. Android and the web. So we also have, I'll put it in the chat, but we also have a basic app which I'm working on updating, but it works on a basic level. I'll put it in the chat. It's just variantnews.app, and this is I'm going to be updating this with machine learning, with better searching, filtering functionality, but it's just a basic first stage of trying to group together the top news stories.
Yeah, well, that's an ongoing challenge, but I just wanted to mention that there is Variant News, and we're part of that organization. Any Word, shout out to Any Word, and he knows what hockey is. It looks like he actually played in Alaska, and he's asking why there isn't an NHL team. I guess would be there's just not a population base to be able to afford it. But I'm sure some really good hockey players have come out of there. And he says he played in a tournament, and they lost 24-1. So I guess they have good hockey up there. But Tim, Yankee's got a question. Can you mine Solana?
Is it possible to mine Solana? It is not possible to mine Solana directly, but I am actively looking at. Right now, I am furiously mining Ethereum only right now. But what I'm going to look at doing is mining Ethereum, maybe something else. I have to find which crypto is most efficient to mine, and then mine that, and then whether it's Flux or Ergo, whatever it's going to be, and then I will buy Solana with that other crypto that I mine. Will be maybe Flux or Ergo or something similar. Right. So I'm going to mine something else to buy Solana because you can't mine it directly. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of new coins coming out that are proof of work that you can mine, but there's still a healthy industry left, like with Flux and Ergo. Ergo has made deals with Cardano, linking up with them, I believe, with like the smart contract technology. I'm looking into that. So Ergo is making big deals with Cardano, which is going to be, I think, one of the big platforms that's going to have slow, steady growth with its price. It's not Cardano's not going to have those big price volatility swings that you see in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's going to be steady growth. That's my prediction, and I guess next year and in the next 5 years we can look back and see how wrong or right I was.
Well, the thing about predictions is if you don't voice a prediction, then nobody. What good is it? You got to take a chance if you.
Yeah, and as far as crypto, on a basic level, just this is. I'm not, obviously, I always have to preface. I'm only talking about my own experience. I'm not giving investment advice to anyone. I'm only telling you
disclaimer
what I have done my research on, and it's just mine. So don't buy anything because I talked about it. Do your own research and buy what you feel is the best option. But I'm looking at keeping a close eye on Ethereum, Polkadot, Solana, Cardano, Bitcoin, obviously. I mean, that's a given. But those are the main ones. Obviously, I'm going to be following XRP because of the SEC case, because whether you own XRP or not, the SEC case with everyone's favorite chairperson, Gary Gensler, is the most important crypto case in the courts right now and may be in the entire future of crypto.
Interesting.
So what happens with XRP, and really what's going on with XRP is all about the big banks.
Yeah.
Because the SEC is going after XRP because they believe XRP is the biggest threat to the big banks. Ethereum, they don't see as a big threat because it's a bunch of geeks that are creating smart contracts and they don't even understand it. But XRP was built from the ground up to directly compete with banks and go after and provide a very low fee for sending money around the world.
Interesting.
And it's a huge threat to the banks, and the banks don't have enough piece of it, but they're buying into XRP, and there's a possibility that it may do well if the SEC would finish the case. But I can't predict that XRP's, and I'm not going to say that XRP is going through the moon, because everybody says that follow it, that have it, right? But all I'm telling you is that they were built from the ground up to compete with the big banks, and they've done very well, and there's a reason why Gary Gensler, who was into investment banking before he came to the SEC. He's also does courses. He's done courses on cryptocurrency in MIT. He knows exactly what's going on.
Well, I should hope so.
I also want to say one more thing about crypto. Gary Gensler, and I'm not criticizing Gary Gensler, so don't sue me, but he goes on and on that he wants to protect investors, obviously investors in the U.S., because that's his job. But he has never once said, when are you going to get like that FDIC insurance you get, which I think is in around the $250,000 range, where you can have assets, you have a bank account, and your assets are secure up to around $250,000. It depends. There's certain accounts that you set up or whatever. Crypto desperately needs that, because if you are buying crypto and your crypto is on those exchanges and you get hacked, you have no discourse legally. So everyone in crypto, we all need to be working, and you need to contact SEC, politicians, whatever, and demand, now that they're regulating crypto, demand that we common investors have some type of insurance mechanism moving forward. That's the most important thing. I don't think we'll get it in 2022, but if we don't get it at some point, all of our investment is at risk. So it's absolutely vital. And I've yet to hear anyone out of all the streamers, everybody I follow, nobody's talking about it.
Well, that's not good. Well, we're looking forward for you doing that show, because there's obviously you've been studying it a lot and different things. I know Canada's moving in a couple of different fronts a bit faster than the United States, which isn't unusual. And we'll be following that.
I mentioned. I think we should just move to the predictions, because the predictions are really part of what we covered all through 2021. It's just analysis of what we think might happen.
Well, this is just it, and this is just our predictions. Disclaimer: I'm not Edgar Casey. I'm not a certified.
No.
Well, I'm glad you know who I'm talking about.
We can't take bets on our predictions. Like we're not there yet.
Oh, that'd be great. I'll take bets.
But maybe next year. Next year we might. Next year.
All right, I'll give you the odds then. I'll treat the odds. These are some of my predictions. In the economy overall, the wealth gap, economic disparity will increase. The odds of that, I would say, are 10 to 1. You already covered this, multi-forms of crypto introduction. Odds of that are also 10 to 1. Near the end of the year, crypto government issued and regulations.
When you say that crypto government issued, you mean a central bank digital currency?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I would give that about, the odds of that are about not that good. Maybe 1 in 5 chance of that. Stock market correction this year, probably November. I give it, this is an even odds, 50-50, 30% slide, which will affect certain stocks more than others.
Yeah, I think what's going to determine that, when the big correction is, the Federal Reserve has stated, right? Isn't not the Federal? Is it the Federal Reserve that raised interest rates? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Federal Reserve has stated that they may be raising interest rates 3 times this year. But what they're going to do is they're going to raise the interest rates probably in this first quarter, see how it goes. If it gets ugly, they may or may not raise after that.
I don't think
they might raise 3 times, and if they go and raise it 3 times and they don't see any issues leading up to that, you may see that correction after that, or you may see it before.
I would say that would correct the market in the neighborhood of about 10%. To see a 30 or 40% slide, that'd be like a major stock market crash, and that would take some outside influence. Now, my prediction is, this goes to the social, and I'm going to extrapolate upon the United States of America, because there's nothing going on up here politically comparatively to the upcoming midterms. All right. Now, I'm going to jump over to my political predictions then. Coming right up very soon, there's going to be a voter rights passed against a very challenged situation in Congress. They're going to rewrite the rules. They're going to push it through. However, that voting rights bill probably won't really come into play by the time the midterms come in, or it'll be ignored. The Congressional Committee studying the January 6th demonstration, or whatever you want to call it. They're going to release a report and have public hearings. That's going to lead to an extremely bitter campaign. Now, I am predicting I don't even want to give odds on this because trying to predict elections is almost impossible. But I think the Democrats are going to hold on to a very narrow majority in the House. They might even add one Senate seat. However, all victories from Democrats will be challenged in court, ragged upon by the loser, and called corrupt in the same way as the 2020 election. And that is going to lead to the stock market crash.
I want to just add one thing to that. So visually, right, the Senate is split 50 Dems, 50 Republicans. But the woman senator begins with an S. I can never pronounce her name, but she's the Arizona senator. And there's also Manchin in West Virginia, and they've been voting against party lines in the Senate.
But the thing is that it doesn't really matter. I don't even know if they're up for re-election. I mean, and the other thing is that they're positioning themselves in the middle, and Manchin also, even though 68% of West Virginians like the idea of the Build Back Better, it's an old school thing. The other thing that Manchin pulled off was a great PR stunt, because now everybody knows of him, and hardly anybody did before. So he might be doing this just to get attention. Now he's in a much more powerful position because he's a decider. And I think the Build Back Better bill will be just shelved for the time being.
Well, now people are saying he's going to run for president, but I don't see that happening.
I don't really think so. But anyway, the stock market's going to crash because of the midterm elections being disputed by the GOP. That's my overall prediction for that whole situation. I'll stand on that. And I'll go 50-50 on that with anybody. Actually, I'll take 50-50 on that.
So you're basically saying Dems will have a narrow lead. Maybe they only have they're up only +3 or something like that in the House.
Yeah.
And then 51 Democratic senator seats and 49.
Now, that's a real stretch. It's a real stretch. That's hard to predict. But I definitely, no matter what happens, especially if the Democrats retain the House and pick up a seat in the Senate, it'll be the whole situation that the former president is saying, that the whole thing's corrupt and take to the streets and the whole 9 yards. That's my prediction for November of this year. So it'll be fun to watch,
And then the military. Move on to the military. You got some big predictions
there?
I
got some pretty big ones on the military. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Now, I predict that China is not going to invade Taiwan, but it's going to seem like it is. And the reason that they're going to hold off is that they're developing all kinds of really, really cool weapons, propulsion for submarines, hypersonic weapons and stuff. Also, they want to be more economically ready to be able to cut themselves off from the United States. Because if we're at war with China, obviously we're not going to be trading with them. All right. Same thing with Russia, except Russia's going to probably try to kind of invade, but they're going to try to make it look like it's the Ukrainian rebellion people that are doing it. So it's kind of like Vietnam for them, except they might win. North Korea, here's a bold prediction. Are you ready for this, Yankee? This is bold. We're going bold.
This is another Black Widow sister thing. Go ahead.
All right, yeah. Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, is going to die. He's just going to blow himself right off the planet. And his crazy sister, who's a total nut job, apparently, she's going to get in power, and she's just going to really crack down on everything. And then she'll probably be so busy trying to do that she won't invade South Korea at this particular point. And then, of course, regional clashes all over the world, driven by outside influences and deteriorating economies, which is something that the whole economic thing. And a lot of that you'll never see. You'll never hear of it. It's going to be local economic clashes, either between tribes and counties, provinces, not provinces, it's little small stuff, like the Serbs against the Croatians or something. It's going to be picky. And then, of course, there'll be some bigger ones, but that leads to an overall prediction that I make that eventually it's going to be like the bourgeoisie, is going to rise up against the ruling class because the bourgeoisie ain't no bourgeois anymore, right? No, you know what I mean? Because with the bourgeoisie,
I understand.
You take away the middle class's middle classdom, and you send them back to the farm, so to speak, and they don't like that. And especially, you have the billionaires used to be, they flaunted it, but it wasn't the same media thing. Like you take Andrew Carnegie or, somebody like that. I mean, sure, he had a fancy car and people noticed him, but he wasn't twittering his way into fame. So now they're more exposed, if you know what I mean. On my final thing is the environment. It's just going to get crazier. And that's about it. And I predicted there might be an earthquake and volcanoes and stuff, but the weather's going to just keep getting crazier. Extreme is the word. Okay?
Right.
And that's it. That's all I got. So it's going to be a reasonably safe year. I predict also for individual entrepreneurship is going to increase.
It already has drastically because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and
it just has to bear fruit.
Entertainment business is going to come back slowly, depending on the COVID restrictions. I think there'll be more self-empowerment amongst a number of people, but then also a number of people are going to follow deeper into the, I think as you call it, the rabbit hole, whatever rabbit hole they decide to go down and stay in and hang out with their people think like them only. But I think there's going to be some good stuff. I see a big year for Variant News and also for the Canuck and Yankee show. We're upgrading systems. We have a lot of ideas coming up, and I just want to give a shout out to all the followers and Anyword, and we're going to be doing a few shows that's going to include some of the followers, messengers that have been contacting us. So that's all I got. Only thing else I got is the worst billionaire and the best person that we lost in 2021. I don't know what you got.
I'm gonna try to do my best. So I'm gonna start out obviously with crypto, and giving Canada. Now I know North America best because that's where I'm at. But I think Canada is one of the best places right now to be investing in crypto.
Yeah.
Maybe Japan. But from what I've heard, the politicians are really starting to get crazy with the fear-mongering, saying they're going to shut everything down. And even more so, I think, than what a lot of the vitriol, whatever, that's been happening in the U.S. around it. So I don't know. It could go either way in India, but it's the biggest emerging economy in the world, and I think eventually one day it'll surpass China. Let's hope. I think be better off India being the emerging superpower than China.
Cool. I like India. I'm a big fan.
I think they're going to have some of the more severe crypto legislation, but Canada's laid back, and they're doing lots of stuff. They've got the EFTs, Bitcoin, and what have you. I think they're even doing Ethereum. They're doing lots of stuff, being laid back. It's a smaller market, but all the focus is on the U.S., and with Canada so close and their economic, all the ties between the two countries, it's going to help crypto legislation in the U.S.
I think so. Also, the thing about Canada, one of our advantages is that we have a very stable social, political system. It's really stable. I mean, not that much changes, and Canadians generally are not at each other's throats anywhere near the degree. So that allows for more fluid and quick thinking, because I think the whole crypto thing, whoever's thinking quickest and moves quickest is going to win this game. So yeah, go on. I like this.
And then, so I already mentioned it briefly. So basically, I don't know how fast U.S. Congress is going to move. It moves like molasses down a tree or whatever. But they're going to have to clearly define what a broker is in the crypto markets, and they're going to have to figure out how they want to tax it. And there could be some crypto platforms that get hit hard, but I don't know. I'm thinking Ethereum will be safe along with the big ones that I discussed, Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, things along those lines.
Right.
And 2022 XRP SEC case has to get finished, so that is going to... We don't know how well, if that'll have a positive or negative overall impact for crypto. And then hacking, Web 3.0 and blockchain. If there's somebody in the chat, please tell me why, with all the hacking attempts and everyone knowing for many years now, because I noticed in that global news, right, they went on about how Facebook, it's basically public knowledge now that Facebook was built from the ground up to data mine people. They've done psychological tests on their user base, which is massive, over 2 billion. But they've been mining our data for years. Why isn't there enough of a movement towards a blockchain identity system? It could be tied to crypto wallets, whatever. Mm-hmm. Why is that so hard to take hold? I mean, the answer is probably Google and the big tech companies are preventing it. Google, I think, is probably the biggest player that's preventing it.
That makes sense.
But Apple is backing Solana, and Microsoft's getting into identity blockchain authentication systems with Ion. So it's slowly happening where these big corporations, even Amazon's getting into blockchain. So all the big guys are getting in, but they're getting in slow and cautiously because they're penny pinchers, and it's going to take enormous amounts of money, R&D, and everything else, and massive resources to get in. It's kind of like Microsoft back before the internet started. They didn't want to spend all the money to get into the internet. They wanted to believe that it wasn't going to go anywhere because it's going to take enormous effort and money and resources.
Yeah, it always does.
So that's what's preventing, I think, a new blockchain identity authentication system. But imagine an online systems without Facebook and Apple sign-in. So I think we'll break ground on that in 2022, but I'm not sure how fast it'll accelerate.
So what you're saying is a lot of the stuff that you foresee this year is going to be very much a year of development of different platforms, different regulations, different things with cyber, new web things using blockchain. So it's you see this year coming up as being a very developmental year.
Yeah, I mean, there's more. There's that guy Rob on Odyssey and YouTube. He has his own VPN service. I mean, he's getting the news out there to people. Your identity is at risk. It's data mining. It's constantly. We've been knowing this for a long time, but the masses are slowly waking up. But
very slowly, and they're not being told. I mean, major news broadcasters just barely touch on things like Pegasus and stuff like that, and then they don't even really frame the discussion as how dangerous it is. And it's the same thing with the Facebook. You see the woman there, that the whistleblower, as they call her, she got some attention, but then everything gets swept under the rug. So alternative platforms.
It's also that most people don't understand technology because they don't use it a lot, or they
don't feel threatened too. They think that they're not a threat because they have nothing to hide, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't know how invasive that it could be, especially with some of the hacking things, because almost everyone is probably subject to some kind of blackmail for something that they do that they don't want someone else to know about. So somebody's hacking your smartphone and you do that something, they could come back and go, well, we got video of you doing the something that you don't want somebody to know about.
And
so
the Internet of Things, we're slowly going towards more automated homes. I'm not going to probably never have some type of smart functionality, at least
Smart
not for the
is
next
dumb.
10, 20 years, that will could unlock my door remotely from around the world or something
Smart
like that.
is dumb.
I'm not going to get into technology like that. So anybody that's into the trying to find tech products for home or whatever, don't get into smart,
no,
unlocking your door remotely or halfway across the country, stuff like that.
or your refrigerator and the internet goes down and your sausages go bad. I don't know. To me, smart is an oxymoron to do with these appliances. Like a smart TV.
Yeah, it's
going to
take
sense.
many years for them to work out the bugs with these smart homes. So be
And
very
also
careful what you buy and what it controls.
The invasiveness, and I think you got a clip for the end of the show. Don't trust anybody named Alexa. But okay, what else have you
Moving
got?
on to the military conflict, I'm just going to focus mainly on my favorite friend, the CCP.
Oh, we love that.
And I'm very much convinced, along with the Canuck, they're not going to do any type of major invasion of Taiwan, even though Taiwan is spitting distance from the mainland of China, just south.
Take it. 24 hours, they could have it.
Sure, if they threw everything at it, yeah. But CCP is art of war. They're stealth. They'd much rather not use massive amounts of resources and then also risk failing. That would be absolutely shameful at the world stage if CCP failed.
Lose face.
That's more important to the CCP than anything else.
Oh, they're a PR machine.
They're constantly flying planes, sorties, whatever you want to call it, over Taiwan, constantly stretching their military might because they're very powerful, right? They're going to do something stealth. I don't know if they're going to go. They probably already have agents on the ground in Taiwan. They might do something crazy, but it's going to be more along the lines of reconnaissance because Evergrande, the real estate market's collapsing. They don't have enough coal. The Winter Olympics, we don't have a link, but I'll put a link. We mentioned in the show notes.
Right up.
I mean, there's people where the Winter Olympics are. They can't even heat their homes with coal because they're trying to keep the skies clean for the Winter Olympics, and then they're going to go back to being dirty once everyone leaves. But yeah, there'll be something in the South China Sea. That's my impression. U.S., Japan, Vietnam, and Philippines are all the main actors.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. India might play a part, but they've always.
Well, they're going to flex their muscles. That's for darn sure. And they're trying to spread the fear. They're hyping their hypersonic missile thing, which is way ahead of the United States' development. They're hyping this new drive for their submarines. They're spreading the fear. So in a way, they get good distance because they're not really doing anything except just getting stronger. So yeah,
South China Sea, CCP have been building advanced radar. I don't have exact technical specs, and I don't advise you to build something like that at home. But they've been doing a lot of stuff where they're jamming. They're trying to jam the cruisers, the U.S. cruisers, and the whatever they have, the fighter planes, U.S. fighter planes. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It never makes mainstream media, and it gets pushed under the rug. And it's actually good that it does get pushed under the rug because it would lead to possibly a world war. But it's going to keep accelerating. I mean, the CCP's not going away. So something crazy could happen there. I think, a major conflict in the South China Sea is more probable than some all-out attack in Taiwan from the CCP. And then briefly, environment. I don't really like predicting extreme weather events because I think it's like fear-mongering. But I'll just say that Southern California hasn't had a big quake in a long time. I've been analyzing it for some time.
On my list.
And Alaska and Chile have had some of the largest earthquakes in the world. Chile had one, I think the largest, I think it was 9.0 or 9.1 or something absolutely insane. So those areas, they always have something. But Alaska's not as populated, thankfully, but still, there's people that get affected by that.
They've had some big ones up there, too, in the recent memory. I mean, at least in the last 50, 60 years. California is primed for something. Let's put it that way. Definitely. I would...
go ahead, finish up.
No, that was on my list of things, but I wasn't going to mention it, but I'll concur with that I give that, pretty decent possibility. But like you say, and it's the same thing with volcanoes. It's really hard to predict these things. They kind of mind of their own.
What I found interesting with La Palma, I was talking to the Canuck about this. I mean, it was a slow, steady eruption. It never really got insane. It kind of started taking over some neighborhoods, destroying things in its path, and never was a major eruption, and people never evacuated. I'm not saying that they should, but I was analyzing it, because of the streams and everything we do, and, people were more concerned about, like, stray dogs in La Palma than they were about anything else. And it's so weird when you analyze environmental disasters, big weather events and stuff like that. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
But, I mean, basically saying there's going to be another volcanic eruption, that's pretty much a given, but...
somewhere.
You just don't want Yellowstone or a super volcano like Krakatoa or something erupting. As long as we don't have something like that, I think we'll be all right.
A lot of the overall fallout, of course, like if it's localized, like the one in La Palma, but the ones that put up a lot of ash, apparently, that's how the dinosaurs got wiped out. So, I mean, if one of these things can really haze up the atmosphere over a large area, which would be a more general population dynamic than just the local one. And so, it's going to be a crazy year. I think, and that's going to factor into a lot of different things. And obviously, the economic consequences of these disasters is going to catch up. It already has caught up to the insurance companies. And eventually, these things cost money.
So we're going to move on to what we mentioned earlier. Canuck and Yankee believe that Elon Musk is the top pick for the eccentric billionaires that are out there today.
And we're going to
let us know in the chat. I mean, if you don't like Musk, let us know. Why don't you like Musk?
Well, yeah, and also, we're going to reach out to Elon's personally this year. We're going to go for sponsorship. We're going to reach out to him and a bunch of other ones, and because if you don't ask, it's as good as saying no.
If you don't ask, you can't receive anything, right? You can't get anything
out of it. That's right. Ask and you shall receive, the Christian motto. Just ask for everything, get what you can. Well, definitely, he's the winner. And we were going to pick the worst billionaires in our different opinions. On this, we did not have a unanimous decision, ladies and gentlemen. But that's good. That's why we have two different countries. And I'm going to let the Yankee go first. And he can state his case for his least favorite billionaire.
George Soros. I mean,
All right.
Wow.
There you go.
So many things. You know what? I might even write a book on George Soros.
Why don't you do that?
That's how much I like him.
Yeah.
But you have MBS.
Yeah, I know. But I want to hear about George, and then I'll go on.
Well, I just do. I mean, George is. It's the quintessential billionaire. Just gotten to the point. Once you get enough money, you can do whatever you want and do anything you want with the markets because you have too much wealth. What he did destroyed the U.S. British pound. He's just constantly investing in political things. District attorneys in the United States, all over the world. It's not just the United States. He's buying up politicians all over the world. I mean, that's not right.
Right. Okay.
Basically, perfect example of why someone should not have billions of dollars.
Okay.
George Soros, perfect example.
So he's the quintessential what you shouldn't do as a billionaire guy.
Yeah, and he's very much financial, Money. Take up all the money.
How did he make his money? Just by dealing money against money and
investing, all that. If you know the markets and you get in there and you can get. I mean, look at Epstein, all these weirdos. I mean, the wealthy elites, they'll throw money at people. If you're in the circle, they'll throw you the money.
No,
it's all about being in the circle.
Yeah. The circle be unbroken by and by. There you go.
But you have a video from MBS. Are we gonna roll that?
All right. I'm going to state my case, and the video will let you know who I'm talking about. And the reason that I picked him is he's not just a billionaire. He doesn't just own a lot of money. He owns a country. The whole country he owns. He's part of the House of Saud. And he's decided that he is the House of Saud. And I'll play the video and then I'll extrapolate if necessary on why MBS is the most dangerous and worst billionaire in the world. And he's supposedly an ally. And he's supposedly an ally, which just makes him really dangerous. We know that Vladimir is probably not on our side at all. And there he is.
You ready? You want to do the whole thing? 3 minutes, 57.
This 33-year-old is the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. He's one of the most powerful men in the Middle East. But is he a progressive reformer bringing a deeply conservative kingdom into the 21st century, or a brutal hardliner silencing dissenters? Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, is at the center of a huge international controversy. Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi went missing in early October 2018 after entering a Saudi consulate in Istanbul. And the world's attention is directed squarely at Mohammed bin Salman and those connected to him. As of mid-October, Saudi Arabia has denied involvement in the case. MBS is no stranger to power. He's held significant roles in politics since 2007. Royalty runs in his blood. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has a big royal family tree. But for now, we'll focus on just 3 of them: the late King Abdullah, the current King Salman, and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. King Abdullah served as the King of Saudi Arabia from 2005 until he died in 2015. That's when his half-brother Salman bin Abdulaziz took over the throne. After governing Riyadh for nearly 50 years, he became King of Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, MBS was busy working for state bodies, and he eventually became Minister of Defense. Just after his father became king in 2015, Mohammed bin Salman was named head of the Crown Prince Court, and in June 2017, he was promoted to Crown Prince. Which brings us to today. Here's what he's done so far. MBS may be most known for leading the kingdom's Game of Thrones-style royal purge. Back in November 2017, he locked up hundreds of wealthy Saudis in a luxury detention center in what he described as an anti-corruption campaign. Others saw it as a way for MBS to eliminate his potential rivals in a quest for power. But he's also been seen as one of the most socially progressive leaders in Saudi history. Over the summer of 2018, MBS granted Saudi women the right to drive. You can't talk about the Saudi economy without talking about oil. The country has made a fortune off of it. And while the highly anticipated Aramco IPO launch continues to hit bumps in the road, the Crown Prince is looking for ways to diversify its economy, making the nation less reliant on oil revenues. And then there's the threat of a nuclear Middle East. MBS recently said the kingdom would, quote, act quickly to secure a nuclear bomb if Iran developed one of its own. Mohammed bin Salman's rapid rise to power opened the door for him to visit with some of America's top leaders. In early 2018, MBS visited the US to meet American CEOs and tour major tech companies. Some say MBS's reign as crown prince is the start of a transformation in Saudi Arabia. Others say he's a ruthless autocrat seeking to consolidate power within the kingdom. Either way, his influence in the region is undeniable. But his involvement in the potential death of Jamal Khashoggi is threatening his progressive image and jeopardizing Saudi Arabia's financial relationships throughout the world. A variety of media companies and leaders canceled their plans to attend the country's investment conference, often called Davos in the Desert. And there are growing calls for the US to punish Saudi Arabia if the allegations are true. MBS has survived several scandals, but more than ever, Middle Easterners are asking, can the Crown Prince hold on to power? Just days before he visited the US back in March 2018, he spoke with CBS's 60 Minutes. When asked if anything could stop him from ruling, he responded, only death.
Yeah, well, what can I say?
Wow,
the guy's
that was pretty dark.
He's a total snake.
Well, he's the worst geopolitical billionaire. He's a nightmare.
He's the most and dangerous. The thing is, he saw how he was glad-handing all the people, all the executives in the States. The United States is deeply embedded. They see him not only as an economic source, but also a stability in the Middle East. And as far as his reforms go, yeah, sure. All he's doing is giving some rights that are more or less taken for granted in the majority
he's
of the
hiding
world.
behind a progressive agenda, and a lot of politicians worldwide have been doing that. How he's gotten away with it this far with what he's done, just with the reporter, Khashoggi.
Well, that's just
wrong,
it. But he's got the United States and the Western world hoodwinked or strung out on his message. He's not seen as an enemy or a threat. So that's why I tagged him. For somebody, you better keep an eye on this situation. Well, come on. Where was bin Laden from? Saudi Arabia. Never mind. I'm not going there.
Well, we can move on to Bishop Tutu.
All right, we're going to close the show. Well, we're going to close the show. Are we going to close the show with the Bizarro? Yeah, I guess so.
Well, Bizarro will be absolute last, but we're going to do Bishop Tutu and then the German, the guy from South Africa, politician from South Africa, who's not well known, who's related, right?
Yeah, or you mean the other people that have passed away? Why don't you go over them, and then we'll play the Tutu video. How's that for an idea?
I'll just do all I have is an image. This is so Friedrich Wilhelm de Klerk, OMG DMS. I'm not sure what all that, some type of title, was a South African politician and Nobel Peace Prize laureate who served as state president of South Africa from 1989 to 1994 and as deputy president from 1994 to 96. So de Klerk was a strong supporter of apartheid for most of his life. As president, he saw the need to forge a new path. His release of Mandela from prison and his lifting of the ban on the African National Congress made way for the dismantling of white minority rule. He left a mixed legacy, never fully acknowledging the evils of apartheid. But I thought it was worth mentioning.
Okay.
Because it just went right under the radar. But
that's
pretty much it. We had Betty White.
Betty White passed
away. A lot of comedians have gone in the past 2 to 5 years. The
Mike
old guard.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that happens every year, and some people, I think about somebody like Betty White, and with my New Year's resolution to produce something every day. Well, she produced things. She got out there and.
Yeah, for like 60. Well, she was in showbiz for like at least 60 plus years.
Yeah, she died just short of 100. All right, hats off to her. And so, yeah, if you want to play the Tutu video, now this is a person that I almost feel like I knew this person because my parents were personal friends with him to a certain extent, and they communicated directly with each other. And my mother's very active in the World Council of Churches and stuff like that. And so, everything we kind of went over today, the predictions, and we didn't really cover a lot of the good stuff that's going to happen. Because, we predict that a lot of people are going to have a really good year, and a lot of people are going to have a really good time, and some beautiful babies are going to be born, and some really good people are going to continue to do really good things. So this person would strike me as an example of a person that everyone should try to strive to be more like. Right? Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who passed away just last month.
All right, I'm going to roll it from Guardian News.
Thank you very much.
I was with the Tutus this morning, the children and Mama Leah, and around Desmond Tutu and some other family members. And we did the Anglican rites and we prayed, and prayer always strengthens us. And I hope Desmond Tutu is at peace now.
He worked hard for God, and he was a very person who can connect with any people, any type of people. He was not choosy. He was not saying this one is poor, this one is rich. I won't accept the poor ones. He was a father.
His legacy will live on forever. Rest in peace, daughter. Rest in peace.
His transparent emotion drew people like a magnet to him. I don't know, there were many people who hated him and despised him because he was so brave in condemning injustice. But I don't know how you could meet him and not love him. I'd get emails from him saying, you need to speak on this. And that wasn't an email that you put aside because he was almost always right. In fact, I can't think of any time when he was wrong.
He was ready to go to his God. And all we have to do is be grateful for such a generous, wonderful life. He made it clear from the beginning that as elders, we had to reflect on the concept of Ubuntu, the African term, I am because you are. And that had to mean, a connectedness. And our work for peace and human rights had to be truth to power. We had to be so independent. But he was also irrepressible and funny.
We all believe that the Tutu legacy deserves to live forever. Is that possible? Well, the arch has certainly done his part. So it's up to us. It's up to each and every one of us.
Our arch, as we all know him, was a shining light for justice and compassion and kindness throughout our country and across the world.
There's that from The Guardian. Nice overview of Bishop Tutu. That's from The Guardian.
I like that.
Nice overview. Oh, I like that. Of Bishop.
Yeah,
nice.
I am because you are. That, and I don't know if it was in the clip because I was only casually watching, or it might have been something else I saw. But one time there was some kind of demonstration going, and there was somebody that was against him and the demonstration, and the crowd was beating him. And Tutu went over and he stopped him, and he says, "No, this is not right. This person, you shouldn't be violent against someone that disagrees with you." And that's the message I take away. I think that's the message that we all have to take away, especially in this time of
polarization.
Yeah, it's counterproductive to the max. And it's gonna. We got enough problems as it is. And if we work together, we can get through it. But if humans continue to be so divisive and prejudiced in their views, which prejudice to me is prejudging, we need to be more open-minded and also compassion and empathy, and not allowing those that are not compassionate and not empathetic to take the rules. And it seems like in our leadership and government and industry that the least compassionate, the least empathetic are the ones that are getting all the money and power. So it's up to the people to create a better example from the roots up. So there you go. Happy New Year.
Yeah, indeed. Happy 2022. So we're going to end with bizarro news. It's a technical bug of actual very nasty one that Alexa needs to fix and make sure it does not happen again.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm actually going to try to get one of the new Alexa devices, the ones that we discussed on past streams that created its own virtual private network, fully encrypted, and use your bandwidth and your neighbor's bandwidth, and it connects to all the other Alexa devices. I'm going to try to get one of the new gen of the Alexa shows or something, and do some man in the middle. I'm sorry, I can't say man in the middle. Man in the person injection, network injection, stuff like that, and see what the packets are doing, right? So maybe I might even be able to decrypt their encrypted communications. That, then I would be able to see everything in the clear. I don't know if I can get to that point, but that's what I'm focusing on in 2022. Just taking a look at more of what's going on in my local area network, which everybody should be interested in what's happening on their local area network. Don't you think?
Now, mind you, as a, because you're probably going to need a lawyer if you do that. So I'll give you some legal advice. Now, this is all for research. All the Yankee is doing here, people, He is researching the limits of the malfeasance that Alexa can create. He is not actually creating malfeasance for malfeasance sake. He's doing it to discover. Same with the hackers, try to figure out how they're hacking it. So yeah, I think it's a research project. And go ahead and do as much damage.
I believe legally I'm still allowed to buy hardware and software and test it and do what I like on my own local area network. Now, I do not recommend anyone do anything outside of your local area network.
Yeah.
Hitting servers remotely. Because you
thank you very much.
You will go to jail for many years. But
thank you very much.
You can still analyze your home.
You can still get in lots of trouble and not break the law.
Localhost is still
There's
safe.
Plenty of ways to get in trouble and not actually break the law. Just ask any professional criminal. Okay, so what did Alexa suggest that this kid do that was wrong? It's a setup.
This is so bizarre. I don't even know how Alexa's database got this into their pathetic AI, if you even want to call it that.
Yeah, TikTok I could understand. They tell kids to go out and destroy toilets. But Alexa?
This is from Ars Technica, which is one of the best technical designs, or whatever you want to call it, on the internet.
Yeah, they're really good.
So, Alexa, stop recommending stupid and dangerous things in 2022. Alexa suggests 10-year-old put a penny on partially exposed plug. Now, moving further, a 10-year-old girl and her mother got a lesson about the utility of voice assistants after Amazon's Alexa suggested the girl try the TikTok plug challenge. Yet again, TikTok is...
Go for it. TikTok.
Decimating civilization around the world. So it was a TikTok plug challenge. According to the girl's mother, Kristen Livdahl, the dangerous suggestion came after her daughter asked Alexa for a challenge to do. Now, is Alexa traversing social media, traversing TikTok, data mining it, and putting that data into its database? According to this article, it's possible that they are. How did they get that information if it was on TikTok? Did it get onto another site within what their spiders crawl and how they data mine? And how do they build their artificial intelligence, or whatever you want to call it, because it's very primitive at this stage?
Ouch.
So, tell me a challenge to do. Here's something I found on the web. According to our communitynow.com, the challenge is a simple plug in a phone charger about halfway into a wall outlet and touch a penny to the exposed prongs. Do not do this.
Oh.
Timer set for 20 minutes. You have to. Oh my God! It's like this is pure evil.
That is stupid,
we were doing some physical challenges, like laying down and rolling over, holding on a shot on your foot from a phys ed teacher on YouTube earlier. Livdahl explained in her Twitter thread she just wanted another one, but thankfully the little girl didn't try the challenge.
Oh, they used their real intelligence.
But this is one more reason why these big tech companies, obviously Amazon included, why they just AI needs to be monitored. This is like a primitive form of data mining AI problem.
Really, I thought it was bad with the GPS and people driving up. Just recently, actually, people were trying to traverse the Sierra Nevada through Truckee and the California mountains in the snowstorms.
I'm going to check out.
No, GPS was telling them to go down these roads that were closed in the winter. But the GPS said, yeah, this is an alternative route. Go over here. And people were like, don't trust this stuff, people.
Well, this is an interesting story because I think we should follow up on this. I want to find out if I can find definitively how that TikTok challenge got into the Amazon Alexa database.
There you go. We're going to be all over it.
Interesting mystery.
That's part of our mandate. News is very oriented toward internet security and the new age of cyber. And so that's the show. And we're going to repeat. This is going to go on for a while, people. We've got a very special show that we did yesterday. And now, mind you, it's an hour and a half long, but it is on YouTube. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing now, you don't have to. You can go back and watch it on YouTube and pause it. But every item is bizarre. And they're all different. We've got lawn cutting gunfights, and we got androids, we got ice cream.
We got everything. So I'm gonna plug it in for a restream.
Oh, I did hear from my friend Paul in Vancouver, and he the alligator one is definitely hit. He said that was the best one.
That was the best one?
He liked it, yes. He voted that number one. So tell us what you think.
Yeah, let us know. Go through all the Bizarro, because, hey, Bizarro is actually, it's...
Bizarro is us.
It's its own universe. But that's it, and we'll have another show next Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing exactly, but it'll be good, whatever it is, I promise.
We'll figure it out. And
I'd like to
thank once again everybody for all your support last year.
Any word I want to shout out? This year. I want to shout out Any Word. Lots of stuff came back. He played as a kid. Hockey, way to go. That's a tough thing. Getting up at 5 a.m, getting your parents to drive you halfway across Colorado in a snowstorm so you can play at 7. That's wonderful. Way to go. And also, he says that he liked my USA. Well, he didn't like them. He likes the Canucks USA political predictions. He doesn't really like the predictions, but he says, yeah, I wouldn't say that I like, but that seems how the Shiite show will unveil. Thank you, Any Word. All right, and thank to everybody else that watched today, tomorrow, or the next day. If you're watching after a repeat, stay safe this year. Stay in touch.
All right, yeah, we'll have rebroadcasts. We'll be in the chat, so contact us if you'd like.
Anytime, variantnews.com, variant-news.com. We're here for you.
All right, everybody, take care, stay safe, and have a blessed 2022.
On the rebound next week.
I love my woman.